What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo, where we getting ready to get into another episode breakdown of Caught Up. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit snit that's going down right here. So the episode we getting ready to get into right now is season 1, episode number 3, titled "A Love Poem." Now, the synopsis for this episode states that a pregnancy scare and issues with Wayne put a damper on Jazzy's birthday plans, but an encounter with a handsome new man might be the much-needed solution to her problems. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Alright, so we kick this episode off where we see Jazzy chilling in her bed or whatnot, and she just so happens to be scrolling through social media, specifically through Wayne's social media, to see if she can find out more information about his soon-to-be wife, Whitney. But unfortunately, Whitney's profile is private, and she's upset as hell because she can't get to what she needs to know. But anyhow, she's still feeling some type of way because she just previously had unprotected sex with Wayne a night or so ago, and it just so happens to be her birthday, so she's feeling a little bit of frustration right now. But while she's scrolling through social media looking to see what she can find out about his wife-to-be, she receives a phone call from prison from her homegirl, Toya. Now, Toya has about 6 more days, I believe, until she's able to be released from prison. But anyhow, well, unless she does something crazy, like she's been going back and forth with this big woman in prison. I forget what her name, I think they call her Grizz or something. I think they call her Grizz or something like that. But anyhow, Toya's like, what's good and what you got planned for your birthday? So she's calling to wish her birthday wishes. Woo, woo, woo. And by the way, what did your man get you or whatnot? And Jazzy is like, well, actually, I haven't heard from him all day. And Toya's like, that's cool, but while we're talking about your little significant other, did you happen to take that pill, that day after pill, or whatever they call it or whatnot? And she was like, actually, I have not. So she was like, what you gonna do? You gonna keep it? Whoa, whatever. And she was like, well, I'm honestly just thinking about it. So she was like, well, you might as well go ahead and get that bag. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit later in this episode. So moving on from there, when Jazzy gets off the phone, she receives a phone call from a private number, which she perceives to be Wayne. So she's thinking that he's calling her directly from his house on a private line. So when she picks up, she's like, what's good, daddy? Well, it just so happens to be her actual dad. All right. And he was like, hey, baby girl. And she was like, oh, what the F? And he was like, hold on, excuse me? And so her dad and her mom are out of the country, and they are actually at a hotel right now where he has a rash of some sort. And her mom is like, look, we found some aloe vera outside of the hotel. We done cut it off so I can apply it to your dad's skin. Jazzy is like, look, I don't think that's what they put that there for. They was like, well, why they put it outside for? And I'm like, shit, I mean, if it's outside, might as well use it. But anyhow, they're calling to wish her a happy birthday. Her mom is like, look, when we get home, I'm gonna make you a huge cake. Woo, woo, woo. Now, the whole time, she's constantly thinking about Wayne, why he hasn't reached out to her. And when she's getting off the phone, she looks at the television, and she just so happens to see Wayne being interviewed by some people, some news anchors or whatnot. And they are asking him about, the engagement, his family. Is he looking to increase his family or add on additions to his family, quote unquote? And, she's sitting there looking at it, and then she says, no, he ain't interested in that. He doesn't even wrap up. Now, I really want to get into this, but I'm not going to get into this at this moment because there's going to be a perfect time for me to really dive into this conversation about wrapping it up. Definitely when you got a whole lot to lose, right? So she goes into this narrative mode where she's talking to herself, and she was like, look, I really don't want this child. I really don't want a child. But she also feels some type of way potentially that she could be pregnant as well as Whitney, who is his actual fiance. So that's already a dilemma there. So she's talking to herself about that. And then the next thing we see is Jazzy walking out on the stroll where she's shopping. She done cleaned out her savings account. And as she's walking, she bumps into this gentleman and all her bags go everywhere. So he assists her in picking up her bags. She looks at him. She was like, oh, he looks pretty good. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And of course, he's looking at her as well as I'm looking at her. And he was like, hey, shawty, you know what I'm saying? What's good? What's good? Like, where you going? Where you off, on a rush to? And she was like, well, it just so happens to be my birthday and my friends got things planned for me. And it was like, well, happy birthday to you. But anyhow, I guess this is the way they hook up now because he wanted to connect with her on her social media. Like, I would have just got the number. But to each his own. I guess that's the way they're doing it now on social media. But I want to get directly to the source. But I guess that's just a new thing to do. That's how they do it nowadays. But I need to get to the source. But anyhow, going on from there, she leaves from that spot. And then the next thing we see is her sitting on top of one of those massage tables or whatnot. And we see the massage therapist by the name of Vin come in, or Vin Jackson to be very specific, comes in and, he was like, hey, you just need to go ahead and focus on what you need to have done. Like, are there some specific areas that you need me to take care of? She was like, hell yeah, there are some there are some areas that need to be taken care of. But unfortunately, in her mind, she's thinking it, but she know that she doesn't want to go there with brother Vin Jackson. But at the same token, she's horny as hell. She want to get something done, but she can't do it like she wants to do it, all right? So anyhow, he was like, well, you just get comfortable. Now, let's be honest. He sees her laying up on that table, and he sees how attractive she is as well. So he's already spilling shit on himself. He's all over the place. So he was like, hey, you just get yourself together and lay up under the sheet, and I'll come back and I'll take care of you. Let me know what you need me to do. Because he done got a little flustered as well, because he looking at all this eye candy that's sitting on top of this massage table right now. And I'm right there with him. You see what I'm saying? So go on, brother. Go ahead and go outside, collect yourself, talk to yourself, narrate to yourself about what you need to come in here and do as a professional. And he does that because when he comes back in, he starts talking to her. Jazzy is like, look, I really don't want to talk. I just want to go ahead and get my massage. But since you want to go ahead and get into this thing, let's go ahead and talk about it. So she goes in, y'all, and she starts telling him everything that she done did with Wayne. And he was like, okay. And he was like, damn, you did that? And he was like, yeah, they say that about me too. And she was like, whatever. But anyhow, he was like, yeah, so she conveys to him that, she feels like she's giving Wayne all of her power and her energy. So Vin Jackson tells her that, hey, you need to find a way to take that power back. And she was like, what are you talking about? He was like, look, you need to figure out a way to shift it back towards you. And he said, didn't you say that you possibly could be pregnant? She was like, yeah, there's a possibility. The way he was off in that thing with my heels to the air and whatnot. Yeah, there's a possibility. So he was like, okay, well, use that. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So listen, when he says, tell him that you're pregnant, see how he responds. If he's excited about it, you'll know everything you need to know because that brother is in love with you. But if he does not respond and he gets very quiet, then he playing you. Now, let me stop right here because that is a valid point. Now, not every brother is going to respond like this, but the ones who are actually playing the field, playing these females out here, and they only in it to get what they can get and move on, those are the ones that's going to have issues with, this whole situation. Potentially, all right? So it's not always like that, but potentially you can run into something like this because I'm not interested in laying down with you and then being in a committed situation for 18 plus years. That's not what I got in here for. And some dudes are like that. All right. But on the other side of it, if you get with a man, a real man who lays down with you, because we all have to understand that when you lay down with somebody, regardless if you're protected or not, there is an opportunity, a window of opportunity where you can conceive. Now, we all grown folks here. This is a grown folk platform, all right? I'm not sitting here trying to buck and jive with y'all. We're not dancing back and forth. This is real talk. This ain't no damn speculation. All right. So he's telling her the truth, and she was like, damn, you want me to test him? And he was like, yeah, it's not really a test, but you just throwing it out there to see what you're going to get back. And I'm right there with him. So, yeah, Van Jackson, brother Van Jackson just dropped some gems on Jazzy, all right? So anyhow, we head over to the club. We see Jazzy working on her birthday, and she's toasting it up with the girls, along with Ashley as well. And while she's supposed to be celebrating her birthday, she's constantly pulling out her phone, looking to see if Wayne has hit her up or not. So her girls are like, what's good? Like, did Ashley piss you off? Did Ashley do something? And she was like, no, actually, it's not Ashley this time, all right? But, they're like, well, let me know if I need to put some hands on somebody. And they go ahead and make a toast. While they're in the midst of making a toast, Ashley comes over and she was like, where's mine? And they were like, gone somewhere. But anyhow, I don't know why they treating her like that. But anyhow, they was like gone somewhere. But anyhow, while Ashley is over there and the girls have dispersed, they've gone their separate ways. Ashley gives her some money from her bra strap, and she was like, hey, I told my table it was your birthday or whatnot, and they gave me this to give to you. Jazz is like, for real? She was like, yeah, so happy birthday. And she was like, oh, I can't take all of this, and she was trying to give her some money back. And Ashley was like, no, I already took mine off top. She was like, hold on, wait a minute. She was like, yeah, it's my table. Like, I already got I've already got mine off top, shouted. So anyhow, next we see them coming out the club. We see all the ladies coming out, and we see Wayne posted up outside with some flowers and a damn cupcake. Now, it's been all night. It's actually past midnight, so her birthday is officially over. And of course, Jazzy is like, I got to go home. Like, I don't even feel like talking to you. He was like, hey, man, can we just sit in here and talk a little bit? So she was like, what we need to talk about? Like, what we need to talk about. He was like, can we just go into my office pretty much inside the car and just talk about it? So don't nobody else hear what's going on. So anyhow, she takes the cupcake and, the flowers, and she sits in there, devours the cupcake and whatnot, got on her lips and stuff. Of course, he's looking at her, and he was like, you okay? Like, you mad at me? And she was like, why you gotta be so damn charming? Like, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. If you really want to get to the nitty gritty, Jazzy don't fall for it, but obviously she's gonna fall for it a little bit because she decides to sit down and have this whole little dialogue with him or whatnot. So she was like, look, I just want to know what's good, what's going on. And she was like, look, don't lie to me. So he says, well, Wesley, my son, was sick. And she was like, there he go. There he go. And she was like, look, okay, please don't use your son as an alibi. Well, Wesley was sick. Yesterday was also our anniversary, talking about he and Whitney's. And she was like, okay, what they got to do with me? So he was like, look, I thought about you all day. I just want you to know that. And she was like, well, why couldn't you have sent me a text or something like that? And I was like, hell yeah, bro. Like, if you thought about her all day, then you could at least send her a text early in the morning, when we go to the bathroom and we go ahead and sneak our phone in there real quick. We could have sent a text message. Definitely if you cheating on the side. You see what I'm saying? But anyhow, she was like, look, man, what are we going to do? So while they're in the midst of this conversation, his telephone rings. And he was like, hey, I got to take this phone call. Like, it could be about my son or whatnot. She was like, are you serious? So anyhow, he gets out of the car. He said, one quick second. He gets up out of the car, and she gets up out the car as well. And she starts to head towards her vehicle. She gets in her vehicle. Of course, he runs back over there, and he tries to hand her a letter, and he slips it through the window. No, actually, he opens the door, tells her, hey, go ahead and read this, all right? So it's an actual birthday card that he had given her. So anyhow, as she's leaving there, she's driving away with tears in her eyes. And I said, baby, don't cry. Like, you don't have to do all that. Don't mess up the mascara and all of that for that, all right? Look, you should have called somebody like me. See, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all need some brother. Man, let's move on. So anyhow, when she actually gets back home, she gets into bed after she's cleaned up or whatnot, and she gets into bed and she's looking at the card from Wayne that she actually wants to open and read. But while she's getting ready to open and read it, she hears Vin's voice, Vin Jackson, the massage or the masseuse. I almost said the massage. Yeah, the masseuse. She heard his voice telling her, hey, you need to shift the energy back in your favor. So she was like, no, I'm not going to open the card. So she goes ahead and places the card in the nightstand. So from there, the next day, she goes outside, going on her walk and whatnot. And we see Brother Wayne is waiting on her as she's walking by. So she was like, look, are you stalking me? Because I'm like, yeah, are you stalking us? Like, what are you doing, bro, at this point? And he was like, no, you need to change your schedule because I can clock where you're going to be, at what time you're going to be there. And I was like, yeah, that's a good thing to do so people can't follow you just like this, all right? So anyhow, she was like, well, I'm actually glad that you're here because I got something that I need to say. And he was like, well, I got something I need to tell you as well. And she was like, well, you go ahead and say it. And he was like, no, you go ahead and go first. So she was like, okay, well, I'm pregnant. And that man stands back and he was like, what? And she was like, is that what you got to say? He was like, man, hold on, wait a minute. Like, for real? And then this brother has the audacity to say, is it mine? I was like, hold on, wait a minute. And she was like, hold on, are you calling me this? Like, is this what you really calling me right now? And you the only I've been with? Now, there are some girls out there there are some ladies out there that will say that and have been with other people. We've all seen Maury and we've all seen it, all right? Some of that has been scripted as well. But at the same token, like, bro, you got to take her for a word. And you later going to find out anyhow if it's yours or not because of Dana, all right? So, with that being said, like, I don't know why we resort to, asking if it's ours. And I know it's a true statement, and that's probably the best thing that we can get out of our lips at that time. Like, is it mine? But at the same damn token, I'm like, damn, we got to find another question to ask instead of, is it mine? And then he's like, I'm not trying to disrespect you or nothing like that. And she was, so what are you getting at? So anyhow, she was upset to the point where she was getting ready to walk off, but she thought about it for a moment and then turned around and said, oh, by the way, did you have something that you needed to tell me? Because she really wasn't concerned at that point because she had already heard what she needed to hear from his response, what she needed. So he was like, no, you know what? I can't even think right now. You done dropped this bomb on me. And see, that's what Brother Van Jackson was trying to convey to her. Like, bro, if you are in this, if you are in love with this woman that you done laid down with and done placed your seed into, now let's go ahead and talk about it, all right, since we here. Now, my dad always used to tell me and my brothers, man, like, take care of your body. Make sure that you just don't lay down with anybody. If you're going to do it, wrap it up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The general knowledge that you give to all of your sons, right? At the same time, my dad also used to tell us, like, definitely when you get into positions of power and money, it is a definite that you take care of that tenfold. You see what I'm saying? So why in the hell are we going around here raw dogging? Like, obviously there's an epidemic right now when it comes down to raw dogging. And I'm sorry to say it like that, but that is what it is. When you just happen to go off in there and you not married, y'all not engaged, y'all not nothing, and you just meet a woman for the first time and you just roll in, man, come on, man. That is asinine to even think that it's going to work out like that. Come on, bro. So you can't get mad at her because you also made the decision to lay down with her, raw dog it, and then get up and leave, and then get mad at her when she comes at you and say that I'm pregnant. Get the hell up out of here, bro. And that's how I'm going to end it, all right? So anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to the club where we see Wayne is outside again. Now, he done told her all of this stuff earlier, talking about, hey, I just don't know. Is it mine? Whoop, whoop, whoop. And now all of a sudden you back at my job again at night. And, Previously, you were trying to hang out with me all night after my birthday. Now you're coming back out here after you done told me that you got to think about this whole baby situation, and now you want to talk to Jazzy in your office once again. So she was like, "Oh, so we're going back to the car." He was like, "Yeah, we need to talk in private." So anyhow, when she gets in the vehicle, she's like, "Okay, what do you want to do? What we're going to do about this baby or whatnot?" Now she doesn't even know if she's pregnant or not. What she does know is that they did the do, and they were unprotected. So there is a possibility that she could be pregnant. All right. And she was like, "Have you given any thought about it?" And he was like, "Okay, so what you want to do?" She was like, "No, what do you want to do?" He was like, "Well, do you really, what do you want to do?" And she was like, "Look, if you don't want to take care of this child, you don't want to have anything to do with this situation, I could just say." He stops her in the midst of it, and he was like, "Hey, don't even say nothing like that." Now, if you that gun ho about her doing away with the child, then you should have felt some type of way when she said she was pregnant, because you can't sit up here and be 100 on this extreme, and then on the other end you like, "I don't know." And as a matter of fact, she was like, "Look, if you're not going to keep it 100 with me, then there's no need for us to have this conversation." So anyhow, while they're in the midst of the conversation going back and forth, his phone rings again, and she was like, "No, go ahead and pick it up." And it just so happens to be his soon-to-be wife, his fiance, Whitney. And he was like, "No, I'm going to just hold off. I'm going to hold off." But anyhow, she was like, "No, go on and pick it up." And he was like, "You sure?" And Jazzy's like, "Yeah, go ahead and answer it." So when he gets up out of the car, she just so happens to hear Vin's voice again. And she was like, "No, I'm not staying here for this." And she gets up out of the car. She sneaks off while he's on the phone with Whitney. And she goes home, takes the pill, when she receives a message from Wayne asking her to read the letter. Now, she gets in bed, and instead of going right to sleep, she goes ahead and opens the card up, reads the letter with a poem or whatnot that he had given her. And he had also given her some money. I believe it was like $5,000, because he said that, "I'm quite sure that you've already cleaned out your savings account." Now, I don't know what the hell we doing cleaning out savings accounts. That's not the best idea, ladies and gentlemen, to clean out your savings account for your birthday or whatnot. Now, I know some people do it, but it got to be a better way. All right. So anyhow, he gives her the money, and then in this poem, he says, "My favorite thing is to hold you, and I hope that you never let me go." And he's telling her that, "I wish that I could have met you before I got into this." So now he's throwing those things out there to connect to her heartstrings once again. And I was like, damn it, Jazzy, that could never be us if you continue to bring Wayne into the picture. And I'm going to end it on that note. So anyhow, that's the end of the episode, man. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this recap, this review of episode number 3, man. I got episode number 4 coming tomorrow, and I'm not for certain what's going on. I looked online, and it shows that there is only 4 episodes. So what I'm thinking is that they were possibly filming this, and then they went on strike, because I was like, damn, only 4 episodes. And that's why I was hesitant a little bit about doing this review, because I was like, damn, it's not enough episodes. But after watching it for the first time, the first episode, I said I have to definitely do it on this platform, because I support Jazzy, or Deja, or whatever you want to call her, fine ass Deja. I support her, so I wanted to go ahead and put it out there. But that's honestly what I'm assuming. And then, by the way, what else I got going on? Oh, by the way, this weekend, I hope y'all can stay tuned. I got my movie recap review. I'm going back to the old school real quick. We're going to talk about something that I think y'all going to like. And I'm going to start talking about it later on this week. So today is Monday. So yeah, I'm going to start talking about it later on this week, so y'all can go back and look at it yourself, and then we could talk about it later on. I might do a live. I don't know. My studio is almost together, but we'll see, man. We'll talk about it. Until next time, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Make sure to tell a friend, share this, all right? I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.